Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We're very glad you're with us this morning. It is October 1st, 2021, first day of the fourth quarter. So we're very glad you're with us this morning. Our agenda this morning, as always, we'll start out with success stories. I do know of one landing. Maybe somebody else knows of some others that are on the line today. We'll then have everybody put their 30-second introductions into the chat window, and I'll send those out this afternoon. We'll then go to our committee reports. We'll hear about workshops, job fairs, pit crew, interview success workshop, and the career tip of the week. And then we'll have our main event, which today happens to be open forum. Let's see here. I'm looking through. Looks like everybody's got their first and last name in there, so we skip this part. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please just open up your chat window. For those watching on Facebook right now, you can enter your questions in the comment field, and we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I took over facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. Like I said, I took it over in 2007 with the gentleman who was running it at the time, landed a job. He asked who wanted to take it over. I think I scratched my face. He said, "Okay, Jeff, you're it." So I've been doing that since that time. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched a second website, careerusa.org, to help people around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. And since 2017, I've been a member of the Practice Interview team. Well, we like to start the meeting off with success stories. I got an email this morning from Daniel Salas, who said, "I want you to know that I have landed a position as a software license manager with Open Text." He did that last week. Please move you to the alumni listing. I want to thank you for everything you do. You made a difference in my search. God bless you. So that's from Daniel. So Daniel makes number 86 for landings. Do we have anybody else who's landed?
Yes, Jeff, I've landed.
Oh, good, Todd. Please tell us your story.
Thank you. Yep, long process. Actually back with the contract company I was with previously, and back at Bank of America where I was employed previously 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So I actually started back on, I keep going in circles. So I actually started back on the 20th. So I'm finishing up my second week. I haven't had a chance to come notify you guys. So I wanted to let you know. Was actually trying to keep everything going like I did before. And them and another company that had originally talked to me a few months ago reached out to me and had another interview after I accepted this job and offered me another job. So I actually had 2 job offers within the last month. So I turned the second one down. They actually offered me more money, but we had already put so much effort into starting this one and getting this going. I went ahead and stuck with the original offer and stayed with them at this point.
So how did you hear about this job you're doing now?
The recruiter reached out to me. He found me and reached out to me.
Okay.
It was at a company I worked with before, so it wasn't a recruiter or the account manager that I'd worked with there. It was one that didn't know me. So to actually go back to 2 companies I worked with previously, none of the contacts were folks I knew previously.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Very good.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, the one big spot I did hear through the account manager that the hiring manager said I was one of the best interviews she ever had. And I credit that to Mark and Walt and what all they've taught me and what all I've learned and the things I added to that. So much appreciation to Walt and Mark for all they put that in there. That wouldn't have happened without what I learned from them.
Great. I see Mark down there smiling. So yes, it's a great service that the 2 of them provide.
All right. Absolutely.
Well, Todd, congratulations. If you would, please put in the chat just a little something about what it is you're doing.
Sure.
Just so that I can remind me to update the list, and I'll get you moved to the alumni tab today.
Cool.
So,
thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
well, congratulations. Thank you very, very much. Is there anybody else out there who's landed? Any other landings? Todd makes number 87 for the year. Come on, we got to break 100 this year. We got 3 more months to break 100, so I'm sure we will. All right, let's see here. What we need everybody to do now is, if you haven't done it, I see a couple people have already done it. Please open up the chat window. Please put in your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, position you're looking for, comma, 2 or 3 target companies, and then hit the return key. Allow, please, I'll get all this information out to everybody this afternoon. What this will do is, hopefully you can look at it this afternoon when you get it, find somebody on the list that, has got a company that's looking at a company that maybe you have a contact at, and maybe you can help them out and help get them the inside track, because we all know that if you have an inside track at a company, you have a much better chance of getting an interview. So we'll put 30 seconds on the clock. All right, and for those people on Facebook, there are a couple of people watching on Facebook. If you put your information into the comment field, I will delete that information right after the meeting's over, so it won't hang out there forever and ever. All right, it's time to hear about job, career fairs, training, and workshops that are going on. Good morning, Eldon.
Good morning, Jeff. Happy Friday, everybody. As Jeff said, my name is Eldon Zarinsky, and I'm here today to provide you information about career and job fairs and special workshops or events. The information I'm about to present to you comes from the calendar tab at the website Career DFW. There it is on your screen. Notice the various colors of all those boxes. They represent different segments or different interest topics on the calendar. And again, we focus on career and job fairs and training and workshops, special events. I go through these items fairly quickly. So if you hear something that catches your ear, I would urge you to go to the calendar, click on the appropriate tab, find the item of interest, click on that, and then you'll find more information and/or links about registering and participation. All right, having said that, this week's career and job fairs. The United Electronic Recycling event will be held Saturday, October 2nd from 9 a.m. to noon at First United Methodist Church. That's at 3160 East Spring Creek Parkway in Plano. If you have any electronic items that you'd like to recycle, I urge you to participate in that. There are fees to dispose of things like printers, monitors, televisions, etc. And they also do a paper shredding the 3rd Saturday of each month. There will be an engineering career fair for L3 Harris on Saturday, October 2nd from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And that'll be held at 1700 Science Place in Rockwall, Texas. There'll be a Raytheon virtual hiring event on Wednesday, October 16th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And Raytheon is hosting a virtual hiring event for military personnel, veterans, and military spouses. And there's a link to register for that one on the calendar. There will be yet another United Electronic Recycling event on Saturday, October 9th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at St. Andrew's United Methodist Church. That's located at 5801 West Plano Parkway in Plano. This week's special workshops or events. Find out about Career DFW and CareerUSA.org and how to use them on Monday, October 4th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This presentation is being organized by the Fort Worth Career Search Network and is open to the public. Jeff Morris, who's our fearless leader and founder of Career DFW and CareerUSA.org, will be talking about the history of Career DFW and CareerUSA.org. So if you want to find out more, I urge you to participate in that. There is a link on the calendar to do so, a Zoom link and also an information link. Online LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. That's Tuesday, October 5th from 1 p.m. to 2:30. Join Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, or Kurt Vondemutter for an online session on LinkedIn. There's a Zoom link and a Facebook link to participate. Also online, the Who You Know Career Transition Summit will be held Wednesday, October 6th from 10 a.m. to noon. This event is hosted by Foster Williams. And if you, for some reason, don't know Foster, I would urge you to get to know him. He's one of our local area recruiters and a really great guy. And there's a registration link to participate in that. Online, interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m. This is Wednesday, October 6th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. This workshop is hosted by Mark McDonald, who's the leader of our pit crew, and Walt Glass, who is our interview success workshop instructor. This week's session on October 6th is session 10, building rapport, establishing chemistry with the interviewer. This is part of a now 13-part series of information on interviewing and etc. So I'd urge you to participate in that. There's a Zoom link and a Facebook link for that. Also online, Effective Resume Seminar, October 7th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Join us live each month on the first and third Thursdays for our Effective Resume Seminar. There's a Zoom link and a Facebook link for that. And that's it for this week.
Eldon, thank you very, very much. All right. If you know somebody who just got laid off, employment numbers went up, more people signed up for unemployment in the last week than was expected. If you know somebody who just lost their job, please let them know about Career FW and CareerUSA.org. The websites are totally free, and we offer a lot of valuable information on them. All right, it's time to hear from the birthday boy. Good morning, Mark.
Another year has gone by. I'm celebrating a birthday today, and that's all I'm going to say. So I got a big smile when Todd talked about the help he got from Walt and I, and that's a great feeling for me, but also for him, and it could be for you as well. So I'm going to talk to you about how to sign up for a practice interview. I just posted, well, a minute ago, I just posted the contact information. That's the same information that's on that card there, but it's got my LinkedIn profile as well. So let me tell you about the pit crew. So the pit crew is a group of volunteers that have all been hiring managers, and I'm looking for more volunteers. So more about that in a minute. But it's a group of hiring managers who are, almost all of them are in job transition, but certainly all of them have been involved in job transition, have been laid off and found their way back in the past. And so we come together to offer our services to those in job transition. And the service is a video practice interview. And it's a very customized and personalized interview because you provide a job description and of course your resume. But we take the job description, we study up in advance, and then we give you a chance to convince us that you are the right person for that job. So very targeted, very specific, very customized. And when it's done, when the interview's done, it takes about 45 minutes. Then we'll give you some feedback on things you did well. So we want to certainly emphasize that, but also areas where you might want to improve or change or take a different approach in that particular interview. Now, even though it's very customized, you do not have to have an opportunity in hand or an interview scheduled to sign up for a practice interview. The more you practice, the better you will be in all situations. The things we teach in the pit crew also help you internally to, when you land a job, to help promote yourself or get a promotion, or just help you talk about things you've achieved so you're recognized for your achievements. So come and practice, even if you don't have a job lined up. Just find a job description that looks good to you, maybe your dream job, and just let me know that it's a generic job description, you're not really interested in this company, and send that in. Now, better yet, if you have a list of target companies but no opportunities yet, send in a job description from one of those target companies, and we'll give you a chance to talk about what you know about that company as well. So I need 2 to 3 business days to set up a practice interview. So if you were to send in your information a day, I'd be looking at a practice interview on Tuesday or Wednesday. And most of the time it's 2 days, maybe 80% of the time it's 2 days, but sometimes it takes a little longer to get everybody's schedules lined up. So that's your schedule plus the 3 panelists. So include in your email when you're available, or when you're not available, on +2 and +3 days. And that'll just help shorten the process, because I can start looking for panelists who are available at the same time that you're available, in this example, on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's how the pit crew works. And that's what we call our 2-way interview. So we're live and you're live. Pit crew also offers a 1-way interview opportunity. Oop, am I going out of order? There we go. also offers a one-way opportunity. That's where you just interact with the tool. Jeff got a great tool for us. It's called Easy Hire. It's very similar to HireView. It's one of these tools that companies buy to do their one-way interviews. And so what the pit crew offers is just a chance to become familiar with the tool. I'll give you the questions in advance, and then I give you a link to the tool, and then you can engage the tool. You can record your answers. And when you're done, you'll get an email with a link to the video so you can take a look at how you did. But nobody else is going to look at that unless you share that link. So I don't see it. So it's very confidential, and it's really just for you to become familiar. Not about, answering these questions because you'll have them in advance, but about how you present yourself on the camera when there's nobody at the other end, which I have to say is a very strange experience. So what's next? LinkedIn, please link in with me. Just send me a message that says we met at North Dallas Career Focus Group, and that'll be good enough for me, and I'll add you to my network. And being part of my network is going to help you with finding people inside your target companies to network with. And then finally, Eldon mentioned the webinar session that's coming up. It's number 10 out of the series that Walt and I do, and it's on Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock. So coming up is building rapport, and I just want to let you know what comes after that. Informational interviews will be the second week of October. Difficult interviewers and difficult interview questions will be the third week of October. And then the last week of October will be avoiding interview crashes, where we talk about all the mistakes that people make, even though they know they shouldn't make them. So, and it's not just about the mistakes, it's about how to avoid making those mistakes. What you should do to prepare so you won't make those mistakes in the future. And there's quite a large number of common mistakes that we see in the pit crew and in Walt's interview success workshop. People just keep making them over and over. So we emphasize those in that session the last week of October. And I wanted to mention now, I am looking for more volunteers to join the pit crew. And if you've been a hiring manager, you have all the qualifications necessary. It doesn't matter what field you worked in or how many people you've hired. We're going to take those skills that you've developed hiring people as part of your professional responsibility and put them together to help people in job transition. It's a very rewarding experience. And it also helps you to interview better in your interviews. Amazingly enough, being the interviewer helps you interview because you learn, you see every time you help someone ways that you could interview better as well. So reach out to me at dallaspitcrew@gmail.com, and I'll tell you more about how to get involved. It's a very worthwhile experience. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so, Mark. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your birthday. Is today a day to go to? Are you going to Chewy's this afternoon for dinner?
Actually, this birthday was a breakfast meal. So we went out to eat for breakfast, my wife and I, which was really very good. That's one of my favorite meals.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
All right. Let's go to Florida. Good morning, Walt.
Well, happy birthday, Mark, and congratulations to you, Todd. I like to help people with interviewing skills too. And so I provide the interview success workshop. And the purpose of that workshop is really to learn how to sell ourselves and what the elements of that is inside of the interview itself, as it's a selling presentation, and also how to differentiate yourself from other candidates. So companies buy who we are, what we do, and how we can help them. So it's focused on those three particular areas. It's very informal. It is a workshop. You do get a video, you do get an interview, and you get asked questions out of the 11 basic categories of questions. So we're dealing with fundamentals, and I liken it to basketball. If you can't dribble and shoot, they're not going to get you on the floor. So how can we pay attention to those selling fundamentals and differentiation fundamentals so that we can excel and feel confident in an interview? You have to be registered to attend. Look me up on LinkedIn under Walt Glass, of course. What a coincidence. And you can see a little bit more detail. Send me an email to my Yahoo address. I'll send you some availability dates. I only do 2 people at a time. You interview each other, and I give you the questions to ask when you're in the interviewer role, and I take notes. And then after the interviews, we go through a discussion and discuss how we can improve ourselves and do the things that I just mentioned as to the objectives of the workshop. I've decided to change my financial arrangements. I'm not going to bill you. It's an unknown amount, and you can avoid the bill if you land. So if you land, that will avoid all billing. I also decided I'll take donations, but there's a restriction. If it's under 10,000, not in a plain brown envelope with non-consecutive bills, I do not accept donations. So only $10,000 in the brown envelope will suffice. So if you meet that criteria, that'd be great. Otherwise, don't worry about it because I will not accept it. So what is it about, interviewing that we fear? What is it that we're concerned about? And how can we practice and learn and get better at doing it? Through this process, I want to ask you, do you sometimes feel gloom and doom? Do you really fear the interviewing on Zoom? It's practice that I sing this tune, and you can get that dream job soon.
I wasn't sure if Walt took his poetry book with him to Florida or not. So I guess he did. He put it in his suitcase. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Walt. All right. It's time to hear for the career tip of the week. Good morning, Tony.
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. I'm Tony Vianyosek, and this week's tip is what to ask at the end of a job interview and more tips to help you knock it out of the park. Angelique Ruers, founder of Bold House, a consulting firm that helps small businesses land corporate clients, offered up her best end of an interview question. She suggests, from your perspective, 1 year from now, what would be the greatest possible impact I could have made on your organization if I excelled every single day in this role? Here's more of her advice, as well as top tips from recruiters, career coaches, and job search strategists. First, research what's happening with the organization. Do your research both on the company and the person you're interviewing with, tweeted career coach Angelina Derisaw, founder and CEO of C-Suite Coach in Brooklyn, New York. Has this company been in the news lately? Have they won an award recently? What are their values? Drop in the research you've done into your interview and knock it out of the park. Dr. Tiga Edwin, founder of Her Career Doctor, agreed. Don't come in without knowing what's happening with the organization. Google them. What's being said about them in the news and on social media? Second, don't memorize responses. Don't memorize answers to any common questions that make you nervous, tweeted Amanda Augustine, career expert at Top Resume. Instead, prepare a few words to jog your memory so your answers will sound confident but not scripted, she suggested. While memorization isn't recommended, rehearsing still can help, she said. Practice your responses beforehand. Yes, it should be conversational, but there are some standard questions you can expect, and practice improves your confidence, she tweeted. Third, treat virtual calls like an in-person interview. Most interviews will be virtual for the time being. Treat it like an in-person interview, tweeted Vicky Salemi, career expert for Monster. Check technology audio ahead of time, have a good internet connection, good lighting like a ring lamp, and proper height for the lens. She also reminds us it's best to double check what video chat program the interviewer will be using. Don't assume it'll be Zoom, she tweeted. Do dress up, even for Zoom interviews, but make sure you're aligned with the company dress code. If they're more casual, a suit may not be it, she tweeted. Fourth, to convey your strengths, show, don't tell. While laying out your skills and strengths during the interview, she suggested using quantifiable examples. Instead of saying you saved the company money, how much did you save and how? Show, don't tell. Translating your value into numbers is a way to do that, can help you stand out as a candidate, she told Grow. You might calculate how many hours of experience you have with a given task, for example, or tally the number of people who have been positively affected by your work. Fifth, prepare for the question, do you have any questions? Odds are good that you'll be asked during the interview, do you have any questions? Having some ready is important. Ask about the future of the company. suggested Hannah Morgan, a job search strategist at Career Sherpa. How is the company planning for long-term changes that will occur in the industry over the next 5 years or so? Find out about the history of the position you're applying for, she suggested. Is this a new role? If it is, how will you support me as I define success in this role? If not, what happened to the last person in this position, she tweeted. The answers will be telling. Don't forget, you're interviewing the company too. Sixth and last, send a thank you note that day. All the experts during the chat agreed that sending a thank you note ASAP is strongly recommended. You should follow up after an interview on the day for sure. I would say by the end of the day that day or the next morning at the latest. The candidate who takes the time to send a carefully thought out thank you note always stands out, she added. Augustine agreed that within 24 hours of the interview is the proper time frame to email your note. In addition to thanking your potential employer for their time, she suggested including 3 to 5 bullet points with additional thoughts you had immediately following the interview, such as what you're most looking forward to contributing, or what project you're most excited to take on should you be selected. That's it for today's tip of the week. Good luck, everyone. Thanks, and back to you, Jeff.
Tony, thank you very much. And you can find that career tip of the week on the Career DFW or careerusa.org websites. Just right in the very middle will say Career Tip of the Week. Walt, you had a comment you wanted to make about this week's tip, and I know exactly what it is because as soon as he said it, I went bingo. But you know,
Yeah.
it's not Tony's fault. Tony's just reading what's on the tip. But go ahead, Walt.
Well, Jeff and Mark and I are all aligned, and we recommend, that's an excellent question to ask, but we recommend asking it up front. It's one of the first questions you ask so that you can have a conversation and demonstrate your expertise and experience in helping them solve those particular things that they want you to do. It's a lot harder to get into a conversation and talk about it at the end of the interview.
Right. And we can talk more about that here in open forum here in just a few minutes. So here, let me get through a few more slides and then we can open it up for discussion with everybody. All right, so coming up here in just a couple minutes, we'll do open forum. Hopefully you brought some questions with us and we can answer whatever those questions are, and you're welcome to comment on other people's questions that they have. Some upcoming sessions next Friday. This is a really great session. I hope you can join us. It's going to be all about accountability groups. This is a great way for you to keep your job search going. And this is going to be the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Why should you have an accountability group? Who should be in it? Why you should do it? Where you should have it at? And what you should be talking about. So this is a really good presentation. Please join us next Friday morning. And then on the 15th, we'll talk about Clifton Strengths, or Strength Finder. It used to be called Strength Finders. So that'll be our topic on the 15th of October. Just a quick reminder, Career DFW and the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are 2 separate organizations. Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit that I started back in 2008. The North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group is a great bunch of people who used to get together in person on Friday mornings. Now they meet via Zoom. Hopefully one day we'll be back in person again, and we will. And they're here to help each other, to network, and to hopefully learn some new skills and to help each other in their job search. The only common thread between the two is that I happen to be leading both organizations at this point. If you'd like to overthrow me here and take over the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group on Friday mornings, just let me know. I'll give you my notebook and off you can run with it. But you're not going to get Career DFW out of my hands. So I just want to sort of say that's my little organization, that what I'm just happy to do and happy to give back to the community. Okay, it's time for open forum. Let me stop sharing here so we can all see each other. So any questions that anybody has, you're welcome to unmute your mic, ask away. And Kevin, it looks like you've unmuted your mic first.
Yeah, I'm not planning any coups, Jeff, so with this question, so please relax. I just curious, because when I first started with this group, I could see everyone and the movement if they're scratching their nose or whatever. But now I only see myself and 3 people live. The others are static. You know, I see Mark, I see Walt, I see you and me. Why is that? And it seems like it's better to do, and then you can contact them directly one-on-one, whereas I only have the option of everyone, you know?
Well, all right,
In
so
chat.
in the chat window, as far as being able to contact everybody, that's a feature that Zoom has that I can turn on and off, and I guess I've left it turned off because when I look, I get to see everybody's name, but it's because I'm the host. I guess I need to turn that on so that you all can contact each other. I'll go back and do that this afternoon.
Okay, well then I'll put the coup back later, much later than I was intending.
For, you know, not showing your picture, it's just sort of becoming, it's pretty amazing for most of these seminars and most of the workshops that I've been part of, even non-career stuff that I'm part of, most people keep their cameras off. I mean, it would be nice for people to put their cameras on if you have an opportunity to do so, so we can see you, so we can, you know, communicate. Thank you, Elizabeth. You just turned yours on. Deborah just turned hers on. I mean, you know, we want to see each other's smiling face. I mean, that's what I personally miss about Friday meetings, is because I don't get to see everybody and, you know, get to find out how people are doing. Thank you, Liz, for turning on your camera. So, you know, Kevin, thank you for bringing it up. It's, I don't know, other people have comments, why you do it, why you don't do it.
Well, Kevin, can you see more people now that they've turned on their cameras?
Yeah, I see Elizabeth, I see,
Okay. Well, there's a
I see
setting,
a bunch of people, Steve.
there's a video setting that will turn off people who will hide from your view, people who have turned off their camera. You can still see their names though, if you flip the switch.
Yeah,
So
but
if
it's not, you see their name in a static picture, like,
right.
I have never met anyone that for an hour and a half, they never move their head or their nose or anything. You know what I mean?
I think, you know, running your video is a good opportunity to practice interacting with the camera, you know, and which is going to be essential when you interview.
Well, I know some people might want to do, you know, multiple tasking and they don't want to, you know, they just want to hear it. But I think that was just an unusual percentage of people that were only, you know, showing themselves and how I move my head and everything. Anyway, thanks for
Kevin,
the.
Kevin, I'll tell you, this is not for all the workshops that I'm part of. I mean, I'm doing, well, the ones I put on and the ones I'm part of, other workshops, most people keep their cameras off. I think people are zoomed out. I think at the beginning, people wanted to do it. They like doing it, but now it's like, I don't, you know, I'm part of this, but you know, and you know, did I do my hair this morning? Did I shave? You know, they're just, I don't know.
Well, I wonder if they're really there, if they have some device that automatically turns this thing on when, you know, and this time 9:30 comes along and then their thing is on and they can be considered present. But I you know, I just think it's more normal that you have more of an audience when you see live people behind it. That's just from my selfish point of view.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you for bringing it up. I mean, it's something that, yes, it makes me feel better as a moderator, a facilitator, to see more faces, but I don't know. It's a battle I'm not willing to.
No, I'm not saying anyone has to do that or anything,
Right.
but if they don't do it, you know, I don't really know if I like them, but anyway.
There were a few comments in the chat window. Somebody says no camera on some computers. That's correct. Jennifer says, or maybe they don't work. Lily says she's saving resources by not putting on the video because it does take up more Wi-Fi, or if you're connected, it does take up more. If you're not showing your video, it does save resources. Not that it doesn't cost you anymore. It's just a matter of if you have a slow connection, that may be the thing.
More
And
processing power. Yeah.
some people are just shy.
You know,
Okay.
Kevin, this is Bonnie, and I appreciate your making the comment. I would get the camera on if I could get the Zoom background to work, because my office, my cubby, I guess, is in a space that's not all that, what should I say, inviting. And, you know, it works because that's where I work, but it's not really some place that I would want to show everybody. So, but I to yet have been unsuccessful in getting that Zoom background that everybody else seems to be able to work on my computer.
I think that's easily done, isn't it, Mark?
Word has it.
Well, no, if you have an older computer, the Zoom background is going to use even more processing power. And yeah, we don't recommend people use them in practice interview or in interviews, virtual interviews, because they generate, you know, you move around too much, they generate artifacts. So, but that's the issue, processing power.
Right. You have to have an i5 or i7 processor on your computer to be able to handle the virtual background, unless you went and bought a green screen to sit in front of a green screen, because that way the computer can only have to process out one color, not everything else you have in your background.
Yeah, because the other thing is if I turn the camera on, that means I have to move to some place like the living room where I have to hold the laptop, and it would be then I couldn't take notes, and just logistically it just hasn't worked for me, which is why I've always kept my camera off. So I apologize for that inconvenience.
That's okay. I mean, you know, I know that when pictures are on there, I mean, I love looking at people's backgrounds to see what else is going on, what else they have in the back of their house or in the back of their room. I like Rick put a comment in the chat window, FBI Witness Protection Program. So,
I like that.
but he gave us his full name, so I guess we could Google and find out what he did wrong. So, you know.
Well, in my case, I'm risking the fact that someone will hire an ugly person. But, you know, everyone's got their issue.
All right, what else can we address for somebody? Or we can talk more about interview questions if you'd like.
Well, I have a question. First, let me just start by saying I have had a difficult week, so I prioritized taking a longer walk this morning and coming into this meeting right at 9:31, which was why I didn't have my camera on, but here I am in all my post-walk glory. I had an interview this week. My resume was sent into an organization by a contact to a hiring manager. Unbeknownst to any of us, that position has been sent to a retained search recruiter. My resume was sent to the retained search recruiter, and we had an interview. I did Walt's way of answering the salary question, which I have done several times in several interviews, and it has worked well for me. They say, what's your salary expectation, or what did you make? And I say, my expectation is fair market range for the position, what the expectations are, the value and experience I bring to it. Do you have a range? And she said, yes, the range is X, this to that. And I said, that works for me. And she said, now tell me what you made before. And I didn't answer the question. And she said, well, did you make X? Did you make X? And now we're below the range that she offered twice and not quite to my range, right? And she said, look, you have to tell me. So I said, I made X. And without skipping a beat, she said, we're a woman-owned company. We believe in helping women attain the next level in their career, but we never put a candidate out at 15% more than their previous salary. As the interview goes on, she says to me, you're the only person that has this experience. You're the only person I've talked to that understands this. You're the only person who knows this and that about. And then I've been moved to the second round of a 3-part process with the hiring manager. So this retained research recruiter, she's either getting a flat fee. I don't know. It was just, so now she's putting me into this position at significantly less than what the range is, but 15% more than I made before. Has anybody come across this?
Well, I think the answer, what I made at my prior position, the correct answer is not to not answer it, but to say what I made at my previous position isn't relevant to this current job, because I was under a different role. I had different responsibilities. And that's where you stop. You recognize the fact that it's not, you're not comparing apples to apples unless it truly is the exact same job. And most jobs, no two jobs are ever the same.
Nope,
So
it's not.
by leaving it not, but I think when you start talking to the hiring manager, you're probably not, the rate isn't going to come up when you're talking with the hiring manager for your second round interview. But if you get to the third or fourth round interview, I think I would definitely bring up that, well, the retained search recruiter said that your range is X to Y. But I think I'd have to wait until they offered you a job. If they offer you a job and they say, here's what we're going to pay you, and it's less than what the retained search recruiter said, I think that's when I would bring it up. Get the job offer first and then negotiate.
Yeah, it was just, and thank you for that part. I didn't remember that part about saying this isn't an apples to apples comparison, because it's not. It was just, and I talked to people afterwards who have worked with retained. I never would have gotten this opportunity if it had been straight through the retained search recruiter, right? But retained search recruiters have never asked them their salary. They just tell them what the range is and they go forward. I didn't come across anybody who, she was adamant about a dollar number.
Well, I think, I know there's one company, CVS, will never ask you what you made before. They'll only value you on what you present in terms of your work experience. But I think recruiters ask that because they want to know if they should knock you out. If it's too low compared to what the salary range is, a lot of times they won't, in my opinion, they will not forward you in. Or they'll put you at the lower end of the range, or, kind of indicate to the hiring manager that, well, we can just get her at the lower end of the range because she's only made this much. So they're evaluating you on past salary rather than what you present to the company, which I think is unfair. Anyway, my opinion.
So the issue for them is, if they've got a certain responsibility in mind, and that responsibility matches up to a market range, then if you haven't made that money, then you don't have that experience. I mean, that's the way they're going to look at it. Okay. It kind of cuts right to one number. Okay. If account executives make 100K and you're 70 or 80, you may not have been an account executive, because a lot of people exaggerate on their resume and,
Right. And I didn't. She said to me, your title doesn't match your title on your resume doesn't match the title of the job description. And I said, because my work in the foundation was not that, it was this. Yep. Right.
So in the end, and what Jeff said is right, you got to make them want you. And then in the end, if they offer you a below market rate, they want you now. So you can just be very direct with them. What about this job, places it below market rate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they may say, yeah, that's the way we start off people, but you'll be eligible for a 30% raise at your first merit review. And there you go. You have the answer.
Yeah.
I was hired by a company who, DSC Communications, they don't exist anymore, but their policy was that they would bring in, I was a director level, they would bring in people at one level below their previous level. It wasn't a salary issue. It was a responsibility issue. And their perspective was, we hire great people. If you're great, you'll move up quickly. So that was just.
And I had that experience in the interior design and architecture field. I worked for a boutique firm under one title, and the big international company said, we don't bring in that title. You have to, and they did it the same to the principals and partners that they hired from my company too.
So that may just be, you'll just have to get to the point where they want you, and then you can start to negotiate. And remember, right, the key phrase I teach, and it's not me, it's Jay Fusaro. So if you get a chance to hear Jay Fusaro, is for the responsibilities of this position, I would expect. Okay, now that's not the question she asked you. She wanted to know what your previous salary was. But when it comes time to negotiate, now you're negotiating around the responsibilities of the position and what the market pays for those responsibilities.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, the other thing I want to add, I agree with what Mark and Jeff are saying totally, is that she's saying she's a women's organization and she's giving you this stuff. Hey, women have historically been underpaid to men for the same job. So has she ever figured that out? But I think, so, to get into that, but I think when it comes to, you're going to get to the hiring manager and, different industries pay different levels, even if you have the same responsibility. So there's a lot of variables why people get paid what they do. You're a woman, you're in a different industry and that, but your responsibilities, if they're equal to or better than what they're asking for, you should get the salary range and, maybe midpoint. So I wouldn't, I think that, some of these people are just 0-1 people, they don't have much depth to
was just
deal with people.
It was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Can't say an infuriating one, but okay.
Deborah, was this the outside recruiter that was telling you all this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was the outside recruiter.
My advice would be is don't let an outside recruiter influence or color your opinion of a company. I've worked with a lot of recruiters, both on the inside and much like you have, I've worked with them on the outside. I think just like every other position, there are some good ones and there are some that aren't so good.
Yeah.
I would wait until you actually have that conversation, either with an internal recruiter or with the hiring manager. But if you're moving forward and they're excited about you, I wouldn't let that influence you until you get down to the end, because you may find that this is not an issue at all.
Okay. And she was very nice. I mean, she was very helpful, and very rapport building.
They can usually fake that really well.
Yeah, it was just interesting. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that, David.
Absolutely.
So I would also be careful about what you have a good idea what your bottom line number is and be happy about that. Because a couple of years ago, I got a job from a big bank and I went ahead and took it at a lower level thinking that I would do good work and be able to bump my salary up to where I really wanted to be. So, and in the end, this particular bank had pretty strict limitations on how large your raises could be, even if you hit it out of the park. So make sure if you can find out a little bit about, like Mark said, you can go in and if they promise that you'll get a bump at your first anniversary, make sure you know the inside track on what those possibilities really are, because in the end, I never really got to the salary level I wanted to because the raises every year were so restricted. So be happy with what you go in at.
Well, yeah, yes. And what I know of my previous organization, their range for this position is much higher than the range for my previous organization. So that's part of it. So anyhow, this was all very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that, Michael.
I still want to say two things. Number one, I would ask a question. I said, on your guideline of that, is that your guideline or is that the company's guideline? I'd like to know the differentiation. And then just to know that, and then I suggest we say something like, I would love the opportunity to demonstrate and show my expertise and what value I can bring to the company so that the salary we decide on, everyone would be very much happy with.
Thank you. I got the distinct impression it was their
Yeah, it sounds like it's theirs. And so, because you backdoor, but then the last comment is they're moving you on. So it's not
Right.
stopping.
Yeah.
But if you tell the recruiter you would like that opportunity to demonstrate the value for that, I think that would make the recruiter feel a little bit more comfortable with saying, hey, it's up to you to make sure that you're doing it,
Yeah.
So that's just my suggestion.
Thank you.
Deborah, thank you very much. Somebody else, Bonnie, you have your mic on.
Yes. I have a question regarding Deborah's situation. If if they say, yes, based on your performance, we will bump you up X amount of dollars, shouldn't that be put in the offer letter?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if they're gonna make a promise, you want that in writing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you for confirming that.
Along with the distinctive criteria for meeting that performance.
Right.
And I just want to say just real quickly, this isn't a question, but I want to say thank you to Jeff Morris. You introduced me to someone about Salesforce, and that particular individual, I don't know if you want me to mention the name or not, but that particular individual was kind enough to give me the opportunity to volunteer at the Innotech conference on Thursday in Las Colinas for the Dallas Women in Technology Association. And it was a very interesting opportunity that helped me decide on classes and things I want to take to be able to re-career down the road. So thank you very much for that, Jeff. I wouldn't have had that opportunity otherwise.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, what else can we answer for somebody? Russ, I see you've unmuted your mic.
Yeah, I just have a comment, Jeff. Earlier this week, you sent out an email with an article, which I thought was great, and it's called "Why Everyone's Hiring but No One's Getting Hired." And if you haven't read it, I mean, just to everyone, you should go read it because it's great. I mean, it just gives you some insight. And one of the things for me, it just shows, I don't know, some of these companies are their own worst enemies. And so I just wanted to comment on that. It's a great article.
Thank you. Yeah, when I saw it, somebody sent it to me and it was just like, wow, I got to push this out to everybody else. You can find it. I did push it out to the North Dallas mailing list. It should be out on my LinkedIn profile. So if you haven't found it, I'm sure you can just type in "why everybody's hiring but nobody's getting hired." You'll be able to find the article. It's about a 10-minute read, but I think it's definitely worth it. Thank you, Russ.
Hey, Brent, it's Mike. I saw your email to Smith & Smith. That the thing you brought up is an issue, but there's an even bigger issue about.
Okay, Mike's on the phone. He did not mean to tell that to everybody. Oh, well. All right, what else can we answer for somebody?
Well, I want to say, I want to thank Mark and Walt for giving me this handout on 200 interview questions. I was on a call with someone at an Orange County biotech firm. I'm being moved up to the next level to interview. And when it came time for me to ask questions, I had that thing in front of me. She couldn't see I was reading it, but they have it segmented. I don't have it in front of me now. I just do just-in-time stuff, right? And it was a HR manager, category, HR manager. She's an HR manager. So there were the questions. I scanned them. I gave her some great questions, and she was like, "Wow, this guy really asked great questions." I didn't give you credit, Mark and Walt, but I want to say it was really outstanding to be able to do that. I'm sure I'm differentiated myself with that way. She didn't know what was going to come next. Thank you.
Well, Walt found that document, and it's 200 questions that top performers may ask you. It's a question really for recruiters. It's a document really for recruiters. Here's 200 questions that top performing candidates may ask you. And so if you want to be a top performing candidate, then you want to ask those questions. And I guess now that you've mentioned it, we need to post it up here.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. Talk among yourselves.
It was fabulous. It was so great.
And it includes the main reason I like it is it has a section on how to close an interview, how to ask for the job. And so that's the first place I've seen where people address, and there's 13 or 14 options there about how you ask for the job or how you close the interview. And so those few questions are worth the whole document in my mind. So.
And I just put it in the chat window for everybody, so you can download it there. All right, what else can we ask? What else can we answer for somebody?
I don't know if this is one of the 200 questions, but I read an article recently where one of the questions they suggested asking when do you have any questions is, why do you stay? What makes you stay at this company? So I've asked that question twice now, and both of the people that were interviewing me really liked the question. And one of them gave a really interesting long answer, which was interesting, to use that word again.
That's a good question. Why have you stayed at this company? Yeah. Another spin-off to that is, can you tell me what kind of training the company has offered you that keeps you interested in why you want to stay here? What does the company do to keep you here? Tony, you've got a question. Tony? Yes, you can ask a question, but you have to ask it.
Let me make a comment while Tony's getting online about questions. Prepare your questions to find out the culture, what you do, and what you can do to help. The question that was just mentioned is like, why do you stay here? What is it like? That's a culture question. What are the kind of questions you can ask that find out what's it like working here every day? What's leadership like? So you want to definitely find out about that. So here's a list of questions about culture. And then what's the day-to-day activities? What do you expect that I'll be doing most of the time? What % of the time will I be working in this particular area, et cetera? And that's that kind of question on your activities. And then the question on how you can help, what it is that I can do for you to make a significant difference, to help make an impact, those kind of things. So prepare questions in those 3 categories. And you can see, you can look them up, say, well, give me some ideas of culture questions. You'll get a whole list of them. But ask about the culture. If the culture doesn't fit, the rest doesn't matter. So be sure you got some culture questions in there.
Right. All right. I think Tony's online now. I see his smiling face. Oh, but we can't hear you. For some reason, your microphone's gone. All right. Well, if you want to type your question into the chat window, I'll read it for you. All right. Technical problems on Tony's end. What else can we answer for somebody while we're waiting for Tony to type away?
I guess computers can have laryngitis.
I think so.
Got an infection. The best culture question I've come across, and it's a long question. You may not want to use it every time, but if you're talking to a hiring manager, a good question to find out the culture of the organization is you can ask them, have they had a chance to promote anybody recently? And what characteristics do they value in promoting a person? And that'll tell you what it takes to be a good achiever and eligible for promotion inside that company. And it may be different than their statement, their value statement. They might say, oh yeah, they worked really hard. They were here every Saturday and I could count on them, to do last minute projects. And, there you go. It's somebody who just works their butt off, and that's how they got promoted.
All right, Tony put his question into the chat window. Any suggestions on how to get a job teaching a course at a local college? I thought it would be a fun thing to do. So has anybody investigated that? Does anybody have any knowledge about how to teach a course at a local college?
Yes.
Yes.
So I almost got hired by Collin College to teach networking, but I took another job instead. And so what I did as part of that process, because not only did I have a recent Cisco certification, but I had a master's degree in electrical engineering. So I made an appointment with the dean of the college, and he was very happy to spend some time with me. It was between semesters. And, I just talked to him about my background and the courses they had and where I thought I might be able to contribute. And so that was a very pleasant experience. I was pleased he was offered and did spend some time with me.
So you would have been doing that in the engineering department?
Yes, technology and something, I can't remember exact name. So that's who I talked to, the dean of that area at Collin College.
I
Mark, did you make that approach directly yourself, or did you get to that through their website, their openings? Because I know the colleges around hire a lot of short-term,
Yeah, John, yeah.
part-time instructors and stuff who have the experience to do those things. And I was just wondering, so I guess part of the question for Tony is, how do you make that approach other than, or is it just going through a particular organization's website?
Well, I just reached out to the dean directly and told him I was, interested and had submitted my application to be one of their networking instructors, and did he have some time to visit with me? So that was it.
I've been a professor at a university part-time thing, and I don't remember how I got the job, but I would suggest contacting the chairman of the department that you're interested in doing the job for. And then, also HR. I think there's, it depends on the college and the area and all that, but there's a lot of need for part-time professors. It's really in the interest of college to hire those people, because typically they pay them a lot less than tenured instructors or professors, and they can get some really good people that have real good work experience that can, balance the academic with the real life work. So I would contact the department chairman and then the HR departments, you never know, and anyone else that's associated with the university. Start networking and finding out how do they got their job, or just people in your community. Do they know anyone at that university?
Yeah, I'm gonna dovetail off one of Kevin's comments. Be sure you have your head in the right place when it comes to what you expect to get paid, because the pay is very low, lower than you think it's going to be. Even people I know that that teach at UTD, where you think the pay would be a little bit more attractive, it was still very low. So you gotta go in. I think you got to go into it for reasons in addition to making some money, because that's what it's going to take for you to get in there and stick it out, because you're not going to make a lot of money at it.
I'll add a little tip. I've served 47 colleges and universities in Texas for IT services for about 10 years. The tip I give you is that it's very easy to find people in a university. They often have organization charts, contact information, who reports to whom. I mean, calling college is very, very easy to use as an example. You can find out everything about who does what, how many people report to them, their names, their contacts, all that sort of information. So almost every school has a great resource of connections of all the staff that work there.
Yeah, and don't forget, a lot of it depends, like I said, on where your heart is, but most of the school districts are in need of teachers that in certain areas, and even substitutes. There's a lot of demand for substitutes. So depending on how you approach it, whether you're just a babysitter as a substitute or you actually teach, there are roles, especially long-term substitute roles, that are out there. The crazy thing about it is you can make more money being a Plano bus driver than a substitute teacher. So, because I know some people that have gone that route. They were going the substitute teacher route, and they needed the benefits, and so they went and drove a bus, because Plano's paying $21 an hour for bus drivers now, and that's a full-time gig. I know some people that have done that because they needed the benefits. You don't just drive a couple hours a day. It's a full-time job.
Doesn't hurt to, when you're in an interview, say, what have you been doing? So, well, I've been teaching other people what I do.
Yeah.
So you are now seen as the expert. You're involved in that. So that'd be very positive.
Okay, what else can we answer for somebody? That was a good, very good question, Tony. Thank you. That hadn't come up in a long, I don't know if it's ever come up, how to be a college professor. Anybody else? Question?
Well, you can count on me for a question. How do you upload can you upload a document in Zoom while I'm here live with you guys if I wanted to?
All right, so what you do is if you open up the chat window, okay, and at the very bottom of the chat window, you'll see the to field where it says who it's going to, and it should be going to everyone, or you can just send it to me. And then right next to it, there's a little, it looks like a piece of paper with the upper right-hand corner folded over.
Yeah.
Click on that piece of paper, and then it'll say, then you want to say attach file from your computer. It'll give you sometimes a couple other choices, and then you go select the file and you can upload it.
Okay, thank you. Excellent response.
I'm good at training people on how to use computer systems, especially when I've done this for now. This is probably I'm probably well into the 600th or 700th workshop or seminar I've put on here since COVID started. So, you know, beside doing these, I've done a couple of organizations, keeping them going too. So.
Okay.
That's because you're making the big bucks.
Do what?
That's because you're making the big bucks.
Yeah, right. Making the $0.
Lots
Yeah.
and lots of zeros.
Add Zoom Master to your resume, Jeff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Love it.
What else can we, I was looking for something here in my file, in my drawer here, and I don't see it. Oh, well, something I was going to share with everybody, but I don't see it here. What else can we answer for somebody?
Hey, Jeff,
Yes.
since we're talking Zoom, is there any trick to, I mean, I can never get attachments in chat. Do you need like a certain, I'm on an iPad. Do you need a certain version or something?
I don't, well, because I don't think you can download chats on an iPad. I think you have to be on a PC or a laptop or a Mac.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want those 200 questions, you know, shoot me an email and I'll forward it to you, or I'll reply back to you if that's what you're looking for.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if you're watching on a phone or an iPad, because if you download to an iPad, it may not, yeah, they just may not allow you to do that.
Okay, that's good. I thought there was something wrong with my iPad or the wrong version or something. That's okay. You answered my question.
That's a guess though. That's a wild
Yeah.
guess. I'm giving you the WAG method.
No, I've tried
guess.
everything.
All right,
Okay,
what
I'll-
else can we answer? Questions. Are we done for the morning?
Let me ask you one question, since it's a very low priority question, given the audience we have, but I have a monitor here. Since no one's coming up with a question, I'll ask this question. Otherwise I would keep my mouth shut. But here it is. I have a monitor hooked up to my laptop and I go back and forth, and I did an extended display in the system display, whatever, and Microsoft, Windows 10, whatever. And you know, sometimes it doesn't move. My pointer doesn't move exactly across to the monitor right away, and somehow it gets there by me squirming around with this thing. Do you have any direct answers to that question?
I have the same issue. I've got double monitors, and sometimes my mouse moves over and sometimes it doesn't, and I just have to sort of wiggle it or give it a little shake. Or using like the keypad, you're trying to use like the mouse pad to move things.
Okay, well, I know when I worked at a company, I had an HP computer, which I hate, but by the way, because I used to be IBM. But they had like a dongle you buy that, you know, you have to click in, put in line with, you know, the laptop connection, and somehow that makes things work. And I'm going to go to Best Buy and ask there, you know, if that's a solution.
I mean, if you've got a, you know, to me, I don't like using you know, if I'm on my laptop, if I'm remote someplace, I'll take a mouse with me even when I'm on remote somewhere. So,
yeah.
You know, having a remote mouse, I think, is definitely the way to go. It makes things easier. Using the little touchpad on your laptop, I don't think works as well, especially for dual monitors. And even if you have a wired mouse, you don't have to have a, you know, I'm sure you probably got a mouse somewhere in somewhere in the house that you could just plug in through a USB port and it worked just as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that benefited everyone on the call. My question and Jeff's answer. And by the way, gentlemen, this is not a coup.
I'm interested. I can definitely see the value of 2 monitors for Jeff, you know, a host. He's trying to keep track of Facebook and comment, you know, and so I can see that. Why, Kevin, do you enjoy, or do you like using 2 monitors? And would you use 2 monitors in an interview?
Nope, you're muted, Kevin.
I unmuted because I don't want to talk. Yes, I think, well, you know, I sometimes, I don't have my monitor working that good. It's messed up. But yes, when I have it working properly, it's really great because you can do 2 independent tasks on it. You know, if the recruiter goes to the bathroom or something, you have some bank time, you can go and you could do your email, your Word document, whatever. You could do some things there. So it really, you know, if you're doing some big program on one screen, it's taking time.
Yeah, I understand that, but why would you do it in an interview?
Probably not, but my monitor is much bigger than my 15-inch screen on my laptop. So it's nicer to see a bigger, you know, image. You don't have to, you know, that's why.
Do you use an internal or external camera?
I use the internal camera on the laptop.
Okay, and so you're not looking into the camera a lot during the interview if you're looking at your bigger screen.
Yeah, I'd be, you know, I'd have to be somewhat of a ventriloquist to do that. Yeah, that's a disadvantage. Yeah, if you have to look straight on. Yeah, you're right. I've been aware of that, so I've been kind of looking straight ahead, but then looking on the side with my eyes. But I guess if they have good resolution, they'll even see that.
I kept my resume and job description pulled up on my other big monitor on the side that I could pull and look at, but I didn't use it a whole lot, but I had it pulled up on there.
Yeah, that's a good use. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. You know, have something rather than a piece of paper on your desktop where you have to look down.
Yeah. So I just used that glance over. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but it was there if I needed it. It was more of a safety net than anything else.
I think
if you're an
just need to
interviewer,
be- I think you just need to be aware of it if you do it. My recent experience several weeks ago with the hiring manager on a Zoom interview is that individual had 2 monitors, and all I saw for the whole interview was the profile. It was like she was multitasking, right? And you got the distinct impression that she was waiting for the 30 minutes to be up. So she, you know, that 2 monitor thing was a challenge to overcome and trying to make a connection when the other person's looking at the other monitor.
I think Walt just identified an AI application where you have a camera on your monitor, and where your eyes go, that's where the camera picks up. Walt, you are very creative.
Yeah.
I have a question, if I may. Does anybody have any experience with these return to work programs? I applied to Reach Hire's return to work program for Fidelity and was turned down because you had to have a 2-year gap, and I didn't. But Reach Hire has another opportunity where you don't have to have a 2-year gap. They're only 6-month commitments with no guarantee of full employment. And I'm wondering if doing that is better than or different to a contract job, right? Or can you make it look like a contract job, I guess, if you don't want to go full time with them at the end?
If
And
you
I'll add one other thing to that.
if you get offered, you know, full-time employment, you get offered benefits, you get offered that. that's going to, have a significant difference between the contract job where it's a whole nother ballgame. Plus, if it's a target company that's on your target list, that's high, and it's the kind of job you want, then I don't care whether it's contract or rehire, retrain, that sort of thing. Just take whichever one they offer.
I've applied for one return to work program with Morgan Stanley, and I don't have any financial industry experience. That's me. I didn't get the job, but I noticed who did, and she was like, she hadn't been worked 10 years because she was raising children, which is a great reason not to be working. And she presented a document that showed excellence. She was like the best salesman in her company and got all these awards and blah, blah, blah. So she had a real, and you're going to find people that are going to do these return to work programs that present that kind of experience. And that they're really looking for, okay, so you've been gone 5 years or 10 years or whatever, but do you have excellence in your background? Have you proven excellence? So you really have to bring out all those really important things that you accomplished that really separate you from everybody else.
And we talk about that all the time about on your resume, every bullet point has to have a result. You want to tell somebody what it is, what the results were by the things you did. Just don't make it look like a job description telling me, here's what I had to do, here's what I did, and here are the results that I got when I did those things, because results sell.
Achievements, accomplishments. So we had several people come through mainly women, so come through the pit crew. And so there's a lot of variation in the rehire programs. The one you talked about that's local is usually 2 years, but as Kevin mentioned, 5 years, 10 years, they vary. Their company, the company comes up with the program that they want, and they usually hire a recruiting firm that specializes in that, or is one of their practices. And so you'll engage, as you probably already have, Deborah, with the reach hire recruiter, and the recruiter will have a handful maybe of different opportunities, some maybe several from one company, but they're also different companies. And then they try to match you up, right? So you don't automatically qualify. And sometimes they'll tell you, that you're just not a good candidate for that position. You're just not going to get hired, even though you qualify for the rehire prerequisites, let's say. So, and then we had one woman who came through who had been through 2 rehire opportunities with different companies. She lives on the East Coast, with 2 different companies that didn't, extend. They didn't extend her. So that happens as well. I don't know that they're all kind of guaranteed to lead to full-time employment. I think the companies who do this kind of look at it as a way to give back, and in particular to encourage women, but they may not necessarily have a job for them at the end of the process.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback.
Well, I'd say one more thing. The Morgan Stanley thing, I don't know what it is right now, but it was a 2-year, you had to be out of work for 2 years. But when I say out of work, I think you have to have a really good reason why you weren't working. I mean, and not a really good reason, in my opinion, is I didn't find the right job. So I didn't work, that's my reason for not working, because I didn't find something I liked, or I was taking a break. But if you were taking care of children for 10 years, raising your kids, you have a really good reason why you weren't working, but you're really an ambitious person, but you're also responsible. You have to have a really good reason why you weren't working, and then and show excellence when you were working. Then you're the great match for a candidate for their. And when you get accepted in the program, it's not like you're home free. You got to prove yourself, and you've got to show excellence in the program, and you got to convince someone in there to hire you, or you're not going to get hired. So it doesn't end when you get accepted. It's still just the beginning of a start, for the program.
Yeah, right.
All right, anything else we can answer for anybody else? Another burning question you can't start the weekend without knowing. Is that it? Is that it? All right, let me do a few closing slides here. So next week, our speaker is going to be Clayton Stockdale. He's a CEO at a moving company, a big logistics company. He's going to talk about accountability groups, who, what, when, where, and why. I think it's if you're not part of an accountability group, I think they're really, really important. They can really help you out. It'll be a really good presentation next week. If you have not put your 30-second introductions into the Zoom chat window, please do so. Put your name, phone, email address, position you're looking for, a couple target companies, and hit the return key. I will get that out to everybody who's attended this afternoon or this morning. I will put that in an email here in another hour or so. So you have that. Please look it over and see who you can help. Just remember, Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Next Tuesday, on LinkedIn Tuesday, Kurt Vondermatter will be with us. Kurt's a retained search executive. He pays $20,000 a year to LinkedIn to use the full-blown recruiting package. And he's going to show us what the recruiting package looks like from the back end. And you would be shocked to see some of the results that he will get, and people who just don't have profiles that are, it's just amazing just to see some of the results that will pop up. So join us next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Next Wednesday, as we've mentioned before, we'll be on session number 10 on Interviewing Wednesday, building rapport, how to establish chemistry with the interviewer. Next Thursday, the first Thursday of the month, we'll talk about resumes. So the resume is not dead. Locke Alderson will be our speaker. This session has been recorded. You'll be able to go back and watch it on the Career DFW Facebook page or the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist, and then down at the very bottom, don't click on the video, but click where it says view full playlist, and then up will come a list of all the different topics and titles that we've talked about, and you can go back and watch any one of them however you'd like, at whatever speed you'd like. This particular video, it'll take YouTube a couple hours to get it uploaded. So this one won't be there until probably about 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Hey, Jeff, can I ask one last quick question? When you talked about LinkedIn, it just popped into my mind.
Okay.
Just real quick. When hiring managers or recruiters look at your LinkedIn profile and they don't do it in secret, so you know who they are, but they don't contact you, do people reach out to them, or is that just kind of weird and creepy?
You know,
Like, for example, I had an interesting marketing manager at a very interesting company just north of the border look at my profile. I know who the individual is. Do I just wait to see if they contact me about something, or do I?
If you're interested in the company, I would reach out and try to do an informational interview, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
Okay, all right.
Waiting is one of the bad habits in job search. If you see something that you're interested in, it's the people that go after things that get a little bit of an edge in the whole process. So
Okay.
don't ever wait. If you see something you're interested in, go for it.
Thank you.
Most of the time, the worst that can happen is you can be sitting right where you are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can say, I saw that you have some experience or expertise in one of the companies I'm very interested in. They'll be curious why you called them. They may not remember, that they scanned you. So I wouldn't necessarily say that, but you just recognize them as someone who has some experience and expertise in this company that you're interested in and would like to talk to them about it.
Yeah, something triggered there looking at your profile, but like Mark said, keep in mind, the recruiters, they're looking at so very many people. Yeah. So like he said, they may not even remember you, but hey, raise your hand.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Everybody, have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week. And hopefully it rains today. We haven't got any rain here. We need some rain.
We have plenty of rain here in Florida. We'll send you some.